Okay, it's 1 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting of Trent Lakes Council to order. Move on to item number 1.2 of our agenda, which is call the roll. Can our clerk, Jesse Clark, please call the roll?
Thank you. Mayor Lamstead, are you present?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong?
Present.
Councillor Franzen?
Present.
Councillor Braybrook?
Present.
Councillor Cadigan?
Present.
For staff, we have Donna Taggart, CIO Treasurer.
Present.
Barb Waldron, Director of Building and Planning, CBO. She is on the line. Steve Brockbank, Director of Emergency Services.
Present.
Adele Arbor, Planner.
Present.
Ann Ruth, Deputy Clerk.
Present.
Sarah Delamarter, Junior Planner.
Present.
Bianca Dragicevic, Legislative Coordinator, Executive Assistant to the CAO.
Present.
And Jesse Clark, Director of Corporate Services, Clerk, is present.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to item number 1.3, which is land acknowledgements and the moment of reflection. So we respectfully acknowledge that Trent Lakes and Peterborough County are located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and in the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which include Alderville, Beausoleil, Curve Lake, Georgina Island, Hiawatha, Rama, and Scugog Island First Nations. Trent Lakes respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaty First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they will continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. We will now take a moment to reflect on these principles and our duties and responsibilities as members of council. Okay, thank you. Move on to item 1.4, which is employee service recognition. I'd like to recognize that many of our employees are been here for a few years, and for the levels of service for 5 years, we have Lauren Beers, David Cosley, and Dan Flynn. For people that have been here for 10 years or more is Jesse Clark, Dylan Kosh, and Al Barnard. And people that have been here for 15 years of service are Chastity Robertson and Fred Lytle. So glad to have all you aboard. It's a great accomplishment. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to the disclosure of pecuniary interest. If anyone on council has a interest in any item on the agenda, please state it now or before discussing anything that you have an interest in. I'm seeing no hands. We can move on to the approval of the agenda. Circular. I would need a motion to do so. See Councillor Cadigan and Councillor Franzen for a seconder. All in favor? Motion is carried. Now we can move on to the minutes of previous meetings. So we can do it all in one motion if you'd like to. There's 2 meetings of council. Anyone prepared to make a motion? I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you. Mayor Lamstead, I actually had a question. Can I do that?
Absolutely can. Let's get a
Prior
motion
to
and a
the motion?
seconder, then we have a motion and a seconder of Councillor Braybrook. And discussion is Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Go ahead.
Thank you. On the special meeting, and it was regarding, the mechanics building. And it was a motion by Councillor Franzen. I thought that we had, that he was moving for us to approve option 4, which was in the staff report given to us. But I guess there was also a comment about, which included eliminating the crane and eliminating 2 bays. And I guess there was also a comment, which I missed at the time, that we should also eliminate 1 wash bay. Yeah. So I just wanted clarification on what the actual motion was, whether it was option 4 as it stood, or whether you were adding an additional restriction to that.
Go ahead, Councillor Franzen.
As the mover, it was option 4 plus removing 1 wash bay.
Any other comments on that? Need to revisit that motion at some time, or do we have that opportunity?
The question was simply because I guess I wasn't listening closely. I thought it was just option 4.
All right. Thank you. We answered that question. Okay, anybody all in favor of moving the motion to adopt the minutes of those 2 meetings? All in favor? That motion has carried. Thank you very much. Okay, we can move on to committees and boards, which is item number 5. Economic Development Advisory Committee, Library Board.
Mayor Lindsay?
Yes.
Sorry, I think that our CAO was looking to make a
Yes,
comment.
yes,
Thank you,
sorry,
and through
sorry,
you.
sorry.
So what, based on that motion that, and the change to that motion related to the wash bays, what I have done is requested that the consultant look at the drawings, and we will come back to council with some feedback on that. It may be tricky because it's a long 1 bay for 2 wash bays to remove 1 wash bay, but we will include that as a discussion for sure and come back to council with the costs associated with removing for sure the 2 storage areas and removing the cranes, just to be clear.
Thank you very much. Okay, anyone, we have the Library Board minutes, Parks and Recreation Culture Advisory Committee minutes, and the Committee of Adjustment minutes from November 1st. Anyone wants to speak to any one of those, we can take it out, or we can do it all in one motion. I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
I would make a motion to approve all of those.
Do I have a seconder? See Councillor Cadigan. All in favor? That motion is carried. Okay, now we need a motion to suspend our regular meeting and go into an open meeting for our statutory public meeting. See Councillor Cadigan and Councillor Franzen. All in favor? That motion is carried. We are suspended and going into a statutory public meeting. We can move on to number 6.1. And Sarah Delamarter, our junior planner, can you speak to this one?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's Del Arbor, and I will be presenting the public meeting this afternoon. This is a public meeting under sections 17, 22, and 34 of the Planning Act to consider an amendment to the municipality zoning bylaw B 2014-070 and Trent Lakes official plan. A notice of public meeting for today's applications containing the prescribed information was circulated to all landowners within a 120-meter radius of the subject lands at least 20 days prior to this meeting, and a sign was posted on the subject lands in accordance with the Planning Act. The notice was also mailed to all prescribed agencies, public bodies, and persons in accordance with the regulations. Anyone wanting to be notified of any decision from today's public meeting should send a request to the municipality, either through the clerk or to the planning department, and the notice of passage will be mailed to them, setting out the method and manner in which appeals may be made to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please note, if a person does not send a written comment prior to the passing of the bylaw or make an oral submission at a public meeting, that person may not be entitled to appeal the decision. Today's application is a public meeting for file number OPA 59 and ZBA 22-32 to consider an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment submitted by agent Jen Langlois on behalf of property owners Steve Lakatos for vacant land located on White Valley Road. The subject land has an area of approximately 97.28 acres and contains a road frontage of approximately 1,369 feet. The property is subject to consent files B120-21 and B-121-21. The lot for consent, B120-21, is marginally within the aggregate resource extraction designation, while the lot for consent file B-121-21 is almost entirely within it. An aggregate study has been provided in support of the proposal, citing that extraction would not be feasible on the subject lands. The report had been subsequently peer-reviewed. The peer review agreed with the conclusions of the original aggregate study that determined extraction not to be feasible in the area. Council supported the consent on April 19th, 2022, with the conditions that a rezoning of the severed lots occur, in addition to an official plan amendment to remove the aggregate resource extraction designation. The zoning bylaw amendment is to rezone the severed lands from a rural zone to a rural residential zone. An environmental impact study has also been provided in support of the proposal. There is a planning report on today's agenda from the municipality's external planning consultant, Chris Jones. Chris's report notes that the proposed amendments will fulfill the condition of consent. At the time of the external planning consultant's report, the registered reference plan for the severed lots had not been submitted to the municipality. The municipality is in receipt of several comments pertaining to the proposal. Comments received from Trillium Lakelands District School Board cites no comments with respect to the applications. Peterborough Public Health commented that they have no objection to the rezoning or official plan amendment. The Kawartha Region Conservation Authority commented that a permit would be required prior to any on-site work. The County of Peterborough also commented in support of the proposed official plan amendment. Further, if any members of the public did not register with the clerk indicating their intent to make an oral submission but would like to do so at this time, please use the raise a hand feature so we are able to promote you in order for you to make an oral submission. And that concludes the presentation.
Thank you very much, Adele Arbor. Is there anyone from the virtual gallery that would like to speak for or against this application? I'm seeing no one. Any questions that council have of staff? Seeing no hands. This is an unusual circumstance. Is anyone prepared to make a motion? Yes.
We have to write some statutory.
Yes, we have to, sorry, yeah, my fault. Any other questions? Does staff any other comments? I'm seeing Councillor Franzen.
I just want to make a motion to rise from our statutory meeting.
Okay, I have a motion to rise from our statutory public meeting, and do we need a seconder? I see Councillor Braybrook, all in favor? We are raised, we're back in our regular council meeting, and we can move on to item number 7, which is business arising out of the statutory public meeting. And I believe, Adele, you are going to speak to this again, Adele Arbor?
Yes, thank you. And through Mr. Mayor, this was a straightforward application, and most of the planning comments came in when we were dealing with the severances. So it's really a technical official plan and zoning bylaw amendment to reflect what the severances are requesting. So as we've had the public meeting for these 2 applications, staff are recommending that council receive the report from the external planning consultant, Mr. Chris Jones, and that council adopts official plan amendment 59 and directs staff to forward the OPA to the county for approval, and that the council defer approval of the zoning bylaw amendment pending receipt of the registered reference plan.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone prepared to make that motion? I see Councillor Braybrook.
I'll make the motion to receive the report and also to adopt the official plan amendment 59 and direct staff to forward the OPA to the county for approval and defer approval of the zoning amendment pending delivery of the registered reference plan.
Okay, and I see Councillor Cadigan for a seconder on that motion. All in favor? That motion is carried. Moving on. Presentations, we have none. Delegations, we have none. We have staff reports. We have no public works, no recreation and facilities. And we can move on to 10.3, which is fire and emergency services. We have Susan Jacket for the Community Emergency Management Board. Would you like to speak, Susan?
Through you, Mayor Lamson. Annually, we have to prepare a emergency report for the ministry on emergency management. It is one of our conditions for compliance. As you can see, we have did our annual exercise. We are looking at working further with the County of Peterborough and the City of Peterborough as a team, because to make sure that we're cross-trained for emergency management in the future, or continuing in the future. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the report?
Yeah, does council have any questions of Susan? No, seeing no hands. It is very important for us to be prepared for in the event of emergencies. We know they seem to be happening more often. Anyone prepared to make a motion? I'm seeing Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you. Mayor Lamb said I will make a motion that we receive the emergency management program review.
Seconder, Councillor Cadigan. All in favor? That motion has carried. Thank you very much. Let's move on to 10.3.2, which is Steve Brockbrent, Director of Emergency Services. Would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, Mayor, to Council. Before you have a report with a recommendation to write off a motor vehicle accident account that we have had no luck succeeding in collecting from 2 different insurance companies. We've received some, but we did not receive all of the money. And it's been dragging on quite some time. Our only other options would be small claims court or collections, but that again will cost us time and staff time and money. So we're looking for your permission to write this off our books.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments from council? Or I see Councillor Franzen.
I'd like to make a motion to support staff's recommendations.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Seeing Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
With a question for me.
Okay.
Steve, just wondering, do we run into this frequently with certain insurance companies? Or does it seem to be kind of random in terms of who actually doesn't pay us?
Through you, Mayor Lambshead, to Deputy Mayor Armstrong. It's a random. There's no, we did receive the majority of a payment from the one company, but they shorted us a few $100s type of thing. And there's no, I guess it was $477, but there's no rhyme or reason. And what else happens is, for instance, we had an accident today, you're not a taxpayer, we send you the invoice to your insurance company, but the individual canceled their insurance a day or 2 before the invoice came about. So insurance washes their hands of those situations, and then we contact the owner and so on and so forth. But it seems to be getting more difficult to collect everything in full, but we're looking into other options for that moving forward into 2023 as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions before I call for a vote? See Councillor Braber.
Yeah, just for clarification, in the recommendation, it says writing off the invoice for motor vehicle accident. Were they 2 separate incidents, just from the information, or was it as a result of one motor vehicle accident?
Through you, Mayor Lambshead, to Councillor Braybrook. These are 2 different individual accidents, single vehicle accidents. The one company had the misfortune of having 2 accidents a couple days apart, and we got paid for one completely and the other one almost completely. But yeah, they are separate in accidents, these 2.
Thank you. It was just for clarification as far as the recommendation, what we're referencing it back to.
Right. So yeah, through you, Mayor Lim said they are, to Councillor Braybrook, they are two separate incidents.
Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. We move on to 10.4, which is building and planning. 10.41, which I'm assuming, Adele, you are going to speak to that file.
Yes, I will. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Council will recall there was a public meeting held for file number 22-19, Ventresca, on September 6th. The applicant is seeking relief from the required water yard and side yard setbacks to facilitate the construction of a new dwelling, together with an attached deck, a covered carport, screened-in deck, a lake-facing deck patio, and a new detached garage. It is also noted that both the definition of deck and patio under bylaw B 2014-070 did not allow for a roof. On the basis, the proposed zoning bylaw amendment would also require relief from these definitions to permit the lake-facing roof deck/patio. The applicant's proposal expansion would not comply with the authorized 50% maximum as of lot ground floor area expansion to the non-compliant dwelling. In this case, the expansion would be approximately 350%. Council passed a resolution on September 6 that said that Council received the report from the junior planner for the zoning bylaw amendment file 22-19 Ventresca, and further that Council defer a decision on the zoning bylaw amendment pending confirmation of the need for an archaeological assessment and a compromise on the covered porch. The archaeological assessment was attached to the agenda on September 6th and supported the expansion. The planning department conducted supplemental communications with the applicant's agent, and they are summarized as follows. On September 21st, the applicant's agent provided a revised site plan which reduced the floor area of the garage from 92.2 square meters to 85.7 square meters. This change reduced the lot coverage to achieve compliance with the 20% maximum lot coverage regulation. On September 29th, planning staff met with the applicant's agent. Subsequent to the September 29th meeting, the applicant's agent proposed to reduce the floor area of the roofed lake-facing patio from 576 square feet to 480 square feet. The reduction would increase the water yard setback in the area of the roof patio by 1.2 meters and would reduce lot coverage to 19.7%. On October 13th, the planning department discussed and forwarded a revised proposal to reduce the floor area of the lake-facing roof patio from 576 square feet to 200 square feet. The compromise would see lot coverage reduced to 18.6% and the water yard increased by 3.6 meters to approximately 14 meters. The proposed compromise was not acknowledged by the applicant's agent. On October 25th, the applicant's agent sent an email to the planning department indicating that their client was going to leave the house design as is. The applicant also submitted a planning justification report, and this report concluded that the proposed zoning bylaw amendment was consistent with provincial policy, conformed to the Trent Lakes official plan, and was representative of good planning. The application was deferred on December 6 to allow the agent to review the report and address the recommendations they did not agree with. The applicant's proposed reduction to the detached garage of 6.5 square meters has achieved compliance with the maximum lot coverage regulation of 20%, notwithstanding the structure is not located in the required water yard. The applicant's agent has indicated they are not prepared to remove the lake-facing roofed outdoor amenity space in the water yard. The applicants provided a secondary supplementary report on December 8th, stating that the original proposed building was larger in scale, area than was currently contemplated. And Chris Jones notes in his supplemental report that the proposed 350% dwelling expansion did not change in size, that the proposed garage outside of the water yard was made smaller to comply with the 20% lot coverage provision. The supplementary memo provided by the applicant also stated that section 23.1.8 of the comprehensive zoning bylaw states that roof porches are permitted in front yards. This section of the zoning bylaw specifically forms the regulations for the former Sandy Point Recreation Development, which was approved in 1989. This proposal never proceeded past planning approvals, and the regulations have no bearing on the subject lands. It is noted that the planning department raised the issue of lot coverage, the roofed lake-facing amenity area, and the extent of the proposed expansion within the water yard in communications with the agent prior to the scheduling of the public meeting. However, the comments did not precipitate any change to the design of the proposed dwelling or garage prior to the public meeting on September 6. There is a supplemental report prepared by Chris Jones, and he concludes with the same recommendations presented to council on September 6, which was to prepare a bylaw amendment to authorize the requested relief with the exception of the roof over the lake-facing deck patio, and require the applicant to provide a shoreline restoration plan to mitigate and restore the loss of vegetation and site alteration to accommodate development, and enter into a site plan agreement to require implementation of such measures. And you will note that in Mr. Jones' report, he's not supportive of the increase to lot coverage nor the covered deck patio. And as part of this application, it's noted that approximately 50% of the new dwelling will be located within the water yard setback. And from a planning perspective, that is a concern. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Adele. Anyone have any questions of Adele in regards to this one? I'm seeing Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you, Marilyn said. Adele, I guess a sort of a planning question. I'm supportive of Chris's recommendation, but number one, in terms of making an exception of the roof over the lake-facing deck or patio, in other words, not allowing it, would we not want to see a new site plan as well as part of the recommendation, so that there's confirmation that that in fact will be comprehended going forward?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, that would be quite appropriate to ask for a revised site plan. And we would typically ask for that so we could base the setbacks on the new site plan, so we can include those in the zoning bylaw amendment. So whether you specifically say revised site plan, we would do so anyways.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, anyone prepared to make a motion? Seeing Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you. Then I would proceed and make a motion to prepare a zoning bylaw amendment to authorize the requested relief with the exception of the roof over the lake facing deck patio, and require the applicant to provide a shoreline restoration plan. And I would add explicitly a third one, that require the applicant to submit a revised site plan in accordance, excuse me, with number one.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have a seconder for that motion? See Councillor Braybrook. All in favor of the motion? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on now, Adele, to 10.4.2, which is official plan amendment 60. Would you care to speak to that file?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. As a result of Bill 109, Planning Act changes, Council adopted official plan amendment number 60, which was approved by the county on November 30th, and the last day of appeal is actually tomorrow. Planning staff have included the changes that would be required to the pre-consultation and site plan control bylaws to implement the new complete application requirements. These modifications will mitigate the impact of legislative changes related to application refund requirements starting on January 1st, 2023. Therefore, staff are recommending that council receive this report related to the approval of zoning bylaw amendment and site plan control applications, and further that council approve the draft bylaw amending the pre-consultation bylaw, which is on today's council agenda for consideration, and further that council approve the draft bylaw to amend the site plan control bylaw, which is on today's council agenda for consideration as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Adele. Anyone have any questions of Adele? Seeing no hand. We're a quiet group today. Anyone prepared to make a motion? The Councillor Braybrook.
Through you, Mayor, make a motion to receive the report and also that council approve the draft bylaw amending that pre-consultation bylaw, as well as council approve the draft bylaw to amend the site plan control bylaw.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? See Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. All in favor? That motion is carried. Okay. Busy day for Adele. Adele, would you please introduce item number 10.4.3 of our agenda?
Thank you. And through Mayor Lambshead, staff have reviewed the requests made by Susan Reynard at the November 22nd council meeting. Her request was to reduce or refund the municipal development charge and building permit fees paid. In addition to the building permit fee, there are currently 3 distinct development charge fees applicable to the construction of a single detached dwelling on the subject property. They include the municipal development charge, the county development charge, and the education development charges. The only development charge fee the municipality has control over is the municipal DCs, and in accordance to the Municipal Act, bonusing is not permitted. If council were to support Ms. Reynard's request, this would be a form of bonusing and not permitted in the Municipal Act. However, the Municipal Act allows, under Section 107, council to provide a grant or aid by a municipality, provided such can be determined to be in the greater public interest. Staff do not consider this request to be in the greater public interest. Therefore, staff are recommending that council receive this report from the planner for information, and further that council does not support the request by Susan Reynard to reduce or refund the municipal development charge and building permit fees paid. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Adele. Anyone on council have any questions? See Councillor Braybrook.
Through you, Mayor. Thanks, Adele. In staff's report, they quote Section 106 of the Municipal Act, which sets out the prohibitions related to municipal assistance. In Section 106.1, it references assistance in relation to a manufacturing business or other industrial or commercial enterprise. I didn't see any reference to private dwellings in that area. Also, in Section 106.2A, it references property of the municipality and not private dwellings. Staff have referenced in subsection 2D as information they relied on to render their opinion. My question is, does Section 106.1 of the Municipal Act only deal with either manufacturing businesses or other industrial or commercial enterprises, thus rendering its application to this scenario moot? And in Section 106.2A, it references municipality property and not private dwellings. So the staff's reference to 106.2D also relate to municipal property and not private dwellings. If this is the case in both instances, does it change any consideration of a reduction in Ms. Reinhardt's municipal development charges? Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's quite correct that Section 106 of the Municipal Act refers to commercial businesses or enterprises, and there is no definition in the Municipal Act in terms of whether it's an individual or whether it's a commercial development. So typically when we look at reductions requested or refunding of development charges or any fee of that requirement, we look at section 106 as well as 107. And 107 is kind of the flip side. And in hindsight, I should have probably included it in the report. However, having said that, bonusing, whether it's to an individual or to a business, is not permitted under the Municipal Act. And I hope that explains it a little further.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing no hands. Anyone for, oh, I see Councillor Franzen.
I'd like to make a motion to support staff's recommendation and to deny the request.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? The Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. All in favor? That motion is carried. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to 10.4.4 and Barbara Walder, our Director of Building and Planning. Would you like to speak to this file?
Good afternoon, through you, Mayor Lambshead. This report was brought back to you as at your request. Mr. Goddard made a presentation at the previous council meeting requesting a reduction, a refund in his fees relating to his building permits for his dwelling. I have provided a report here for you, but I just will add a few more comments. Mr. Goddard has been presented with this report. As you can tell by the report, that there was 3 permits associated with this property. The first permit was for a second-story addition. The second permit requested by Mr. Goddard was for a demolition to demolish the entire building. The third permit was to rebuild a new dwelling. Staff at the time followed the building bylaw as has been approved by council and to determine the reimbursement percentage, and that amount was sent back to Mr. Goddard. Consideration of reimbursement of fees contrary to the approved bylaw sets a dangerous precedent, and therefore it is a recommendation of staff that council deny the request from Mr. Goddard for an exemption to section 13 of the building bylaw and the payment of fees and refunds, subsection 3.4.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Anyone have any questions of Barbara? I see Councillor Braybrook. Go ahead.
It's just a comment through you, Mayor. It appears that the processes were followed in accordance with the applicable bylaws and codes. There does not appear to have been any actions on the part of the building department that would have warranted consideration of a refund as requested by Mr. Goddard.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, is anyone prepared to make a motion? See Councillor Cadigan.
I move that we support staff's recommendation and deny the request.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? See Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to section 10.4.5. Barbara Waldron, Director of Building and Planning. Once again, can you speak to this file?
Through you, Mayor Lambshead, this report again is a result of a presentation that was made to council previously by Mr. Nicholas Stockley, requesting the renewal fees to be waived for permits 2021-187 and 2021-188. Both of these permits are for single-family dwellings. Mr. Stockley has been provided with a copy of this report. And open building permits, the purpose of the administrative fee for renewals is because open building permits are a huge liability issue for the municipality. So, you know, we are a very busy department. We try to finish off as many permits as we can in the year, but really that's dictated by how fast the process is going out in the field. And it's important for us to keep these files current so that we can monitor the required inspections, send out notifications to the owners of the next inspection that's required, and try to keep the process moving so we can get the permits closed. So this administrative fee is for that purpose. It is to keep the building permit current so that we can ensure that the closure of the permit is sooner than later. This policy is important to maintain, and we have been asked by other permit holders for this same request. We have verbally told them at the counter that we are not able to give them any reduction in the fees that are applicable to their permit. And I did want to make note today, because Mr. Stockley's letter did make reference to that he felt that the permit at 54 Mill Line was going to be completed today, and then the one at 98 Mill Line would be completed in March. I did want to make council aware that Mr. Stockley did contact the office this morning to set up an inspection for 54 Mill Line Road. That inspection has not taken place, and it's not confirmed that that inspection would be approved when we get there. But I did want to make note that he did call in today. So it is staff's recommendation that council deny the request from Nicholas Stockley to have the renewal fee waived for permits 2021-187 and permit 2021-188.
Thank you very much, Barb. Does anyone have any questions of that? See Councillor Braber.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Barb, just for a question for clarity, just for me, the two permits referenced in the background both expired in August 2022, and the owner sent a letter to the municipality dated November 21st, 2022, requesting a fee for both expired permits to be waived, citing delays as a result of COVID. Is that correct? Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Very much. Any other questions? Seeing no hands, anyone prepared to make a motion? See Councillor Braber.
Through you, Mayor, the council received a report, and that council denied the request of Mr. Stockley.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? So we need Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay. Barbara Waldron, you're getting your work out today as well. Can we move on to item number 10.4.6? And can you please speak to the file?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lambshead. As with any policy, once we start working with the policies, we find little issues with them. This, for the benefit of the two new councillors, the policy for the license of occupation was a huge undertaking. It took quite a while to get to the point where we could bring it before council, and the document, for the most part, was really well done. We have had some applications come in which have highlighted one major issue that I wanted to amend the policy to deal with, and while I was in there, I did clean up a couple other items. So what had taken place, we knew that the one location, which is called, people refer to it as Second Bridge, we knew that a lot of island owners use that area to park their boats, and because there was some work done on the road there, that there is some parking areas there. When we were putting this policy together, we were trying to cover all our bases. We were trying to be really diligent, making sure that we were at our end, making sure that we weren't having any issues with any other applicable agencies. So the one section referenced included as part of the application process that depending on the water body that they were on, they would have to get approval from that agency. So we were trying to be proactive for the benefit of the island owners who were flooding our office with lots of questions, and rightfully so, they were asking good questions. So we thought we'd be proactive when we reached out to MNRF just to say, hey, what kind of document are you going to be providing to us, just so we know what's coming our way. And to which the answer we got surprised us that they weren't going to be giving any approvals at all. And it has something to do with their own policies that they can't be issuing dock permits in their water bodies in that area. So I spoke to our solicitor about this, and he said really that section should not be in there because your encroachment agreement is only dealing with the portion of the deck that is on municipal lands. You're not concerned about the portion of the dock that's sticking out over top of the water because that's not municipal lands. You're really only protecting the municipality for that portion of the dock on the lands. And he gave the example of if somebody came along and stepped on the portion of the dock that was on our lands and somebody went through the dock and broke a leg or did more damage than that, that's what we're trying to protect ourselves from. So it was his recommendation that these three items under 542, E, F, and G be totally removed. So that was the major item that I dealt with. The other cleanup items, I did change the definition of adjacent to. And again, this is towards the water access only properties. So I added a line at the end to say that adjacent to includes water access only properties and are deemed to be adjacent to the municipality owned lands by way of adjacent water courses. Without that line being added into, none of the island properties would be considered adjacent to, and that was problematic. Any other references in the policy that made reference to those three agencies that we removed was taken out. And the other part of the policy that we removed was section 5.10. And that originally went in because our zoning bylaw does have some policy in there about size of dock, location of dock, things like that. But we are reviewing that. That is becoming very problematic for our department. And we are reviewing that to possibly be removed from the zoning bylaw. So for the purpose of the fact that what the intent of this policy is for, we don't feel that that's applicable to this policy. So those are the items that have been removed or changed.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? See Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you, Mayor Lamson. Thanks, Barb. I understand and I support those proposed changes regarding outside agencies. I follow our solicitor's rationale around jurisdiction. But I do have an outstanding question, which you've now raised, about those docks that are on Beaver Lake Road. So are those, or some portion of those, in fact, on municipal property, in which case they will still be subject to our license of occupation policy, and they will have to proceed to apply for a license if they want to keep them? Or is there something else about the docks that are in that location that I'm not understanding or that needs to be done?
Through you, Mayor Lamson, you are correct, Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Every single dock, a portion of their dock is sitting on municipally owned land. So it might be 3 feet of a dock, it might be 2 feet of a dock, it might be half of the dock, but there's absolutely a portion of every single dock resting on municipal lands. So each and every one of those people will have to make an application for a license of occupation. The one thing that I'm grappling with, we're trying to figure out, and this is an administrative side of it, is how we're going to identify each of those docks as the applications are coming in, they're processed and they're being approved, and they enter into the agreement and they're legal to have the dock there. We have to find some way of putting some type of a notification on the dock that this has been an approved dock. So if our bylaw officer or building inspector walks by there, we can clearly see which ones have been approved and which ones have not. So we're still working on that part of it. But to answer your question, yes, every dock in that area will need to enter into an agreement.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? See Councillor Franzen.
I'm through the mayor. I'm wondering, with all of these here amendments and removals, if we shouldn't defer this till our next meeting so that we can have a clean copy and review the changes.
Through you, Mayor Lamson, the copy that you've been provided is the clean copy.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you. Mayor Lim said it. I will just make the motion that we receive the report and that we approve the amended policy for implementation.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? I see Councillor Franzen for a seconder. All in favor of that motion? That motion has carried.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to 10.5, which is finance. Donna Taggart, our CAO treasurer, would like to speak to this item.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Lambshead. Before you is the accounts payable for the month of November for your information.
Anyone have any questions of our CAO treasurer? No. I'm seeing no questions, which surprises me. See Councillor Braybrook. Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive the report.
Okay, we have a motion, and I have a second. See Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. All in favor? That motion has carried. Thank you very much. We can move on to item 10.6, which is administration. Actually, I think I have one little comment about that last motion it seems like we're not as many electronic payments. We're almost half and half. Just a comment. Okay, we can move on to 10.6 administration, which is Donna Taggart, CAO treasurer.
Thank you, and through you. Before you is a report related to the actions taken by the CAO under bylaw B 2022-030, and that was the delegation of authority during the lame duck period. So I have provided this reporting to council. So actions taken under that bylaw specifically were the separation of the duties or creating two positions for the fire prevention training officer. And that was because of requirements under Ontario Regulation 34322, and also because of increased requirements related to fire and life safety, and because of pressures in that department for recruitment and retention of staff and just call volume. So a report did come to council October 4th advising of that decision. And then also actions taken under the purchasing delegated authority during that lame duck period. We did award 3 public works vehicles. I have listed those there for you. And I can let you know that all of the amounts included in this report are already included in the 2023 draft municipal budget.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions on that? Seeing no hands, anyone prepared to make a motion? See Councillor Franzen.
Excuse me, a motion to receive the report.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? See Councillor Cadigan. All in favor? That motion is carried. And we can move on to 10.7 of our agenda, which is corporate services, 10.7.1. And Ruth, our deputy clerk, would you like to speak to the council expenses?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lambshead, this report brings forward council expenses submitted for the month of November for the new term of council for council's consideration and approval. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure you've had a chance to look at those. Is anyone prepared to make a motion? See Councillor Braybrook for a motion. Do I have a seconder? See Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. All in favor? That motion has carried. Thank you very much, Ann. We can move on to 10.7.2, which is Ann Ruth again, our deputy clerk. The municipal elections accessibility report. Can you speak to that, please?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lambshead, Section 12.13 of the Municipal Elections Act requires that within 90 days after voting day in a regular election, the clerk shall prepare a report about the identification, removal, and prevention of barriers that affect electors and candidates with disabilities, and shall make the report available to the public. This report was prepared pursuant to this legislative requirement, is being provided to council for their information, and will be made available to the public on the Trent Lakes website. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We don't have any questions? Any questions? Anyone prepared to make a motion? Seeing Councillor Cadigan,
I'll make motion that we accept the report.
do I have a seconder? I see Councillor Braybrook for a seconder. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to section 10.7.3 of our agenda, which is Jesse Clark, Director of Corporate Services / Clerk, the 2022 election summary report. Jesse, can you please speak to that item?
Thank you, Mayor Lamshead. Through you, this report outlines data and statistics related to budget and voting for the 2022 municipal and school board election. Not included in the report, but important to note, was that there was a 27.17% voter turnout for the Harvey ward and 26.28% voter turnout for the Galway Cavendish ward. And this report is just for council's information.
Okay, thank you very much. Comments or questions? See Councillor Franzen.
Just a comment through you, Mayor. I believe the election was very well run. I like the format that there was a paper ballot the day of. I think that worked out very well. And with the telephone voting and the computer vote, online voting, I think we should continue with that process.
Thank you, Councillor Franzen. So there was a lot of good comments about the procedure that was followed. I think it was excellent, well done by staff.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? See Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you. Mayor Lamshead. Just call out one of the observations that made in the report was the rather disappointing voter turnout of 26.9% versus 35.13%, which was, we experienced 4 years ago. And you contrast the 26.9% with the 33% across the province. So not only were we lower than the previous election, but also lower than the provincial average. However, we did see declines across the board in all elections and a little bit of voter fatigue, I think, among other things. On the other hand, the good thing is that there wasn't one huge burning issue that got people out of their chairs and voting. So perhaps that's a positive thing.
Thank you for your comments. Deputy Mayor. Anyone prepared to make a motion? See Councillor Franzen.
I'll make a motion to receive.
Do I have a seconder? I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong. All in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, we can move on to item number 11 of our agenda, which is correspondence for information. If you'd like to pull one of these out and speak about it, we can, or we could do them all at once. It is whatever council's prefer. Go ahead, Councillor Franzen.
Yes, I'm just pull out the Fourth Conservation Authority, the portion on the source water protection. I think it's a good idea that the representatives come from Haliburton and City of Port Lakes.
We could speak to that right now if you would like, and then we'll do the rest of them after.
Yeah, the only comment I have, I think that's a good plan. It's worked in the past. Most of the fresh water comes from the Haliburton region, and the biggest portion of the people that use that water live in City of the Port Lakes.
Would you like to make a motion to receive that, or?
I'll make a motion to receive. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion to receive. Do I have a seconder? I see Councillor Cadigan. All in favor? That motion is carried, and now we would need a motion to adopt the rest of the correspondence items for information. I see Councillor Braybrook.
Just a question through you, Mayor. I was wondering if we could pull out the Toronto Petrolia just for comment.
You certainly can. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to avoid duplication, I think we do have acts and codes existing, such as the workplace violence and harassment policies, codes of conducts, and the human rights code that can cover that off. I guess the remaining question is what the powers are for the integrity commissioner as far as any offending counselors.
Thank you very much. I think our integrity commissioner's very thorough in his investigations of us. Okay, anyone prepared to make a motion? I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Yes, thank you. I guess if we pull that town of Petrolia out, then I will make a motion to receive that one.
Okay. I can have a seconder to receive that. I see Councillor Cadigan, all in favor? And we still need a motion to receive the other two, I believe. I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Actually, following suit here, I'd actually like to pull out 11.2 for a comment.
Sure, we might as well do them all individually.
That's what I thought. Since the precedent was set by my fellow councillors. Just wanted to comment that I think it's timely, perhaps even, late to the party, that we have the snowmobile clubs and the ATV clubs working together in terms of both maintaining, constructing, signing, et cetera, of the trails that they share, because they are many, at least up north. So I was very pleased to see that they've signed a memorandum of understanding to rationalize the resources that support those two things and to collaborate on the trails together. I think we will all benefit from that.
Absolutely, very good point. It is nice that they're working together because they certainly haven't been historically. It's nice that they are. Okay. I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
I would just make a motion to receive that correspondence.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? The Councillor Braber, all in favor? That motion has carried. So we need a motion for 11.4, Trent Lakes Ellen Seniors Letter of Thanks. The Councillor Cadigan.
I move that we receive the letter.
And do we have a seconder? See Councillor Braber.
I just want to make a comment through you, Mayor. I did receive a picture from Pam Dickey as far as all the hampers and whatnot that they've prepared. It was something to see.
Okay, is that you seconding that motion as well?
Yes.
Okay, for a seconder, all in favor of that motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. And we can move on to item number 12, correspondence for action. 12.1 is the Buckhorn District Tourist Association. Anyone like to speak to that? Any comments or questions from? Yeah, I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Just toss this out for consideration. I know that staff is working to try and get some information from all of our three community centers, because each of them will require a representative from council. We could wait on these two until we also are looking at the community center appointments, so that we look at all of them together. So that's just a suggestion. I don't feel strongly about it, but it's just a suggestion.
I see Councillor Francis.
The only issue I have with that is possibly missing a meeting.
True.
I think that we have these on the table now. We could fill both these positions and deal with the community centers whenever it comes in.
So, okay, why don't we take a look at item 12.1? Does any member of council want to be the representative? Seeing Councillor Braber. Go ahead and speak if you would like to speak.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, I'd be happy to step into that role.
I see Councillor Franzen.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
If I may comment.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I'm really pleased that Councilor Braybook has stepped up to that. I personally think that's been a weak link in the past, and we have not worked together with them, nor understood what they were doing, nor been in a position to support them, or vice versa. So I think it's important that we have a strong relationship with them going forward. So I'm pleased to support Councilor Braybook in that.
Thank you very much. And I agree. I think that I will be attending some of those meetings to try and get a better relationship going with that group. Okay, all in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. And the Fourth Region Conservation Story, I see Peter Franzen eagerly putting his hand up.
Yes, I'd certainly like to serve on this. I have a long history of serving on the Kawartha Conservation Authority, and I enjoy that group very much.
Do I have
I
a
think
second?
you did the work.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Any other comments about that?
Yes, if I may, just that, as we know, the conservation authorities are all undergoing some transformation
Yep.
because of legislation's changing. So
Yeah.
that will be, I think, another important appointment and representative between ourselves and the conservation authority. So pleased to support that.
I also think that it's very, very nice that you have some background with them organizations, Councillor Franzen, and I think you're a very valued and added member on that. So, all in favor of that motion? That motion has carried.
9.5 years.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, now we can move on to item number 13, which is the bylaws on the agenda. We don't have a memo. Goodness, for one time. So item number 13.1 is the official plan amendment for file number 19, Leckert. Prepared to make a motion. That was the two lots on the side of White Valley Road. I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a seconder? The Councillor Cadigan for seconder. All in favor? That motion has carried. Item number 13.2, which is the pre-consultation bylaw. Anyone prepared to make a motion? Seeing Councillor Franzen and Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. All in favor? That motion has carried. And now we're seeing item number 13.3, which is the amend site plan control bylaw. Anyone prepared to make a motion? I see Councillor Cadigan and Deputy Mayor Armstrong. All in favor? That motion is carried. And we move on to item number 14, which is the business arising out of a previous meeting. Does anyone have any business arising out of a previous meeting? I'm seeing no hands. It's very festive. We should have had some Christmas. We can move on to any notice of motions, item number 15. There is none on our agenda. The information's items, which is item number 16. See Councillor Franzen.
Yeah, I just have one thing. I was at the Buckhorn Community Center meeting this morning, and I guess there is a bit of an issue with communication between IcePad, which is on their property, between the committee that maintains the IcePad, and they feel that it may warrant a user committee. Just a few of the comments, and I think they're going to set up a meeting with the CAO to further discuss the issues that they have.
I think that's very important. If there's some issues, we need to solve them and resolve them. So I think a meeting with our CAO, Donna, I'm sure you could accommodate that.
For sure.
Thank you very much. I see Councillor Cadigan.
For you, Mayor, to Councillor Franzen, is this regarding the water bladder for flooding?
No, they were just wondering when it would be flooded, and they just haven't received any information from the IcePad committee. And they thought that there should be better communications.
Okay, thank you very much. I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lamstead. Just an information item that the Greater Harvey Historical Society is applying for a grant from the, oh boy. It's a subgroup of the Information or Library and Archives Canada. And the grant is to allow them or to provide funding that would allow them to digitize more of their collection, put it into a database, a structured database, and then have a website that would be user available to go in and find information about your own history or history of the area, et cetera. So we won't know until April whether that has been approved, but that application is in.
Fantastic. Hopefully they're successful in that, and it'd be nice if we could have some sort of a portal on our website to connect to that.
Absolutely.
And our ratepayers can connect to that easily. Any other questions or comments? See Councillor Cadigan.
Another point of information. Mayor, the Cavendish Community Center had a Christmas potluck dinner last Saturday evening, and the youth group funds were used to buy presents, and the big man himself, Santa Claus, showed up to present the presents to the children in attendance, which were maybe 15 or so.
Well, it's nice to hear that that is happening again. It's always a good news.
Yep.
Okay. Any other information items? And seeing none, we will need a motion now to go into closed session, or to suspend our, no, we just go into closed session. I see Councillor Cadigan. I see Carol Armstrong for a seconder. All in favor? We are moving into closed for the reasons I'm about to discuss. Ontario Municipal Act Section 2.3.2 to discuss litigation and potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local boards, forest road and zoning compliance. Advice that is subject to solicitor client's privileges, including communications necessary for that purpose, forest road and zoning compliance. We are now moving into a closed session. Thank you. Okay, I will need a motion to rise from closed session. I see Councillor Braybrook, and I have a seconder in Deputy Mayor Armstrong. All in favor? That motion is carried. We have closed. Okay. Business arising out of the closed meeting, we adoption of our minutes of our previous meeting. And if we peruse our minutes, anybody care to make a motion? I see Councillor Franzen for a mover and a seconder. The Councillor Braybrook, all in favor. That motion is carried. The minutes are adopted. Okay. We can move on to item 19, the adoption of the confirming bylaw. Prepared to make a motion. The Deputy Mayor Armstrong and Councillor Cadigan for a seconder, all in favor. Confirming bylaw is passed. Carried. The motion is carried. We can move on to item number 20, is adjournment. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? I see Councillor Franzen And Councillor Cadigan with both hands. All in favor? That motion is carried. We are adjourned.